So I'm on location again on the dining table here because I've got another huge box with something really special inside. I'm pretty sure it's over 6 months ago, quite a long time, that I did a review of the Bachmann big hauler and I had a lot of problems with it. And I hinted in that video that there was something much better than it in the red box in the background. And this is the box, and it's taken me all this time to get round to actually getting this out the box and having a look. The end of the box gives away what's actually inside here. A G-scale model. It's the Bayside Lumber Co number 4, and it's a 2-truck Climax locomotive. It has DCC sound on board and a lot of other features as well. You can see them listed there. And to give you an idea of how big this box is, there's a Hornby 00 Class 25 sitting there, just to give you a perspective on just how big that box is. Now, this is a Bachmann model, so let's get this out the box. So here's the model out of the box, and wow, what a fantastic model this looks. And it's certainly a weighty model as well. It's probably the heaviest model I've ever reviewed, and it's quite difficult to handle as well without breaking some of the parts because it's got a lot of detail on it. It really does look like a fantastic model. So let's look at this a bit closer up. Here at the front of the locomotive, you can really start to see the incredible detail and extra parts that are on this. And at the front here, we've got this bar running across here. Now, this is actually made of metal, so it's unlikely to get broken. However, this part down here is made of plastic, and it's part of the main plastic moulding. And this is obviously going to get bashed and broken, I think, over time. And it does wobble at the moment. And we've got another couple of bars going up here, again made of metal. And I really like this part here, which is a little hand wheel. It doesn't move or anything, it's been stuck on there. But I think that's come from the factory like that. What an incredible little extra. The smoke box door actually opens. And it opens to reveal a switch where you can put it between digital and analog. Really quite clever, they've hidden it inside a smoke box there, and that it has this little door to close and hide it. Even these little brackets here move left and right as well, so you can lock that closed. And there's a number 4 printed on there with a gold surround. Really nicely done. Further up, there's this very typical American Wild West style headlamp here, and you can see it is illuminated as well. Obviously, you're going to have that on a model of this size. Just looking at the cab area now, we've got some rivet detail around the outside here, and you can see the floor has got this planking effect as well, which actually comes along here, which I'm not so sure really should happen, but anyway, it's there. Nice white painting around here and the lining around the windows as well. I'm not sure about these window frames in dark red. I think they're meant to be wood, and that paint doesn't go down the side of the windows, so that's a bit of a shame, but we do have a movable window, and you can see inside it we've got a driver, and I'll show you a bit more on that in a moment. Up on the roof, we've got a hatch which can be moved up and down, and there's another light facing rearwards, which I think is also illuminated. Nice handrails here made in metal. So around the back of this locomotive, a very good representation of coal in the bunker here, and we've got some wood planks with rivet detail on the brackets, which is really well done. We've got a tank with a number 4 on it here, but over here you'll see there's another 2 toggle switches. That's going to be between battery pack or track pickup, and this has about polarity. It looks as though maybe there should be another tank on here. There wasn't one in the pack, but I did get this extra piece that fell out when I took it out the packaging, so then maybe that fits on there. I can't actually quite see how to fit that on, if it's meant to be or whether it's meant to be another tank, but anyway, it is what it is. There's another handrail here in metal, and then we have the same plastic part down the bottom here with the wood effect on it. Very impressive wood effect, but the fact that this is plastic is obviously prone to breaking. Then we have the typical knuckle coupler of these G-scale models. Looking further down in this locomotive, it's where it starts to really impress with the detail. Very characterful of this locomotive with this piston here driving a central part, which provides drive out through the shafts to each of the bogies. But this is actually a con on this model because the drive is actually in the bogies and it's driving in the opposite direction. Talking to the bogies, it looks as though these are sprung, but they actually aren't. And you can see that this one has this part here with a spring, this one doesn't, and that's an indicative around this locomotive that these parts have pinged off at some point and got lost. They fall out quite easily, unfortunately. What is really good is the brake gear. Very characterful of this locomotive. It's even moving as well, and it's got these little tiny connectors here holding it on. It really looks the part. The top part of the bunker actually lifts off here and reveals a cooling fan on the underside, and this is actually quite heavy parts. It must have a weight in it, but you can see all the circuitry inside here that controls this locomotive. And while we've got this off, you can actually see inside the cab there. The driver's got posable arms, which is really quite cool, and there's also a whole load of detail on the back of the boiler, some of which has been picked out in red. And you can also see that there's some dials in there as well, and that's really very impressive. The attention to detail inside the cab is really spot on. So overall, this model from Bachmann I think is actually a really incredibly good model. There are some very small niggles with it, like the window surrounds painted that red colour, which I'm not so keen on, and the plastic parts at the front of the locomotive, which I think could get broken off pretty easily. And you could probably break a lot more off this model as well, because it's just so heavy and has so many small parts on it. But those small parts actually add to the appeal of this model and end up making it look like a really incredibly detailed and impressive model. This could sit very nicely on somebody's mantelpiece and look like a real fantastic display model. But the fact that it's also got features and also works as well is really quite incredible. I've seen a few G-scale models in my time and some of them look a little bit toy-like. This one just does not look that way at all. I think it looks really impressive, and it's got some fantastic engineering on this model, which makes it something really very special. And if you're a G-scale modeler, I'd definitely look out for one of these. Even if you don't model American railroads, it's still a fantastic locomotive, and it'll certainly make a pleasing addition to your garden railway. But you're going to have to look after it. If it crashes, you're going to have to spend ages fixing it because so many parts will break off it. But that's the price you pay for something just this incredibly well detailed. So for me, this is the best G-scale model I've ever seen. Let me know what you think about this model though in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think as well. I usually put these on the turntable as I sign off, but this absolutely won't fit. So I'm going to give you some more close-up pictures as I sign off. Thanks for watching this video. I'll put a link to another video that I've done on screen now, and if you click that, I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching this video. See ya!